on BBC Radio Wales. You are listening to Behnaz Achgar, and it's time for the midweek menu. And this Wednesday, romance is in the air in the kitchen. Yes, this Saturday is Santes Dwynwen's Day and the Welsh patron saint of love. Yes, we're all going to be celebrating, I'm sure. And if you are celebrating with your loved one on the weekend, are in the search for some inspiration for date night, well, Lisa Fearn, the owner of SIed Cookery School and Cafe in Carmarthen, is here to help us out. Hello, Lisa. Hello. It feels like centuries since I've seen you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, what have you been up to? I haven't seen you.
Just keeping on going, you know.
The cookery school, the cafe.
Yes. A few visits up to here, but a few little chats on Radio Cookery in a studio not that far from here.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen you for ages.
I know. And what's been happening?
Well, in the last year, we've opened, I can't believe it's April actually, we opened another cafe in Carmarthen, which is an out-of-town cafe with free car parking, which is wonderful for most people. They love that.
Yeah.
And it's out of town, so if you don't want to actually go into town and, pay up and park up, you can just visit us. And this week, we've finally moved all of the cookery school to there as well. So all the workshops are now under one roof with a cafe. So we have a chef, barista and everybody on site, so it makes life a little bit easier for me as well.
Oh, does that mean you've got more space now in town as well to be able?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's exciting, but I guess quite stressful at the same time, was it?
Well, it is, but we've got a good team behind us and we all work together. My daughter works with me in the business as well, so we all it's a good team. So when you've got a good team with you, it doesn't feel like stress. It doesn't feel like work, actually. It feels like fun.
And when you're doing what you enjoy and you're good at, it doesn't feel like work either.
Exactly.
Living the dream, Lisa.
Like this, for instance. This doesn't work, is it really?
No, not for me. But it's sometimes when people come into the studio, if they haven't been on before, they're a little bit nervous. But you've been doing this such a long time, so there's no issue at all. So we want to impress our loved ones this weekend. What's on the menu?
Well, nothing too bulky, just something rich and indulgent, maybe a little bit extravagant, and maybe something that's very, rewarding to eat, but also not too complicated to make.
That's what we need, because we don't want to spend all day in the kitchen. And I like the idea of the fact that it's light, because you want to have a nice glass of wine and you want something to complement it. So which is the first dish that you're cooking for us today? Well,
I'm going to do a scallop and prawn mornay, which is basically a small dish, but it is packed of flavour and texture, and it's just yummy. It's the kind of thing I always go for if I want something for a real treat,
If I saw that on a menu, I would order it. But I'm always scared of cooking scallops at home. So maybe you can guide us through getting it right.
Yeah, it's not difficult.
No?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, so how do we go about making it? Where do we start?
Well, get some decent scallops if you've got a fishmonger, which are not that easy to come by these days. We don't have one in Carmarthen anymore, but there are a few that go around with vans and things, so get a decent fishmonger if you can and get some nice fresh scallops. And if you can get them in the shell, even better, because then you can serve them in the shell. So once you've got that, get all your ingredients out. I would say that for any menu. Get all your ingredients out and weigh it out right at the beginning, so that when it comes to cooking and assembling, it's fast, you don't need to worry.
Bash, bosh.
Yes, exactly.
My husband always makes fun of me because I got lots of bowls going, because I like to get everything, all the ingredients ready. But it does save time, doesn't it?
It does. And you don't forget things that way. You run through your list of ingredients, get them ready, and then you're not going to leave anything crucial out.
Okay.
So once you've got your fish and your prawns, you're going to start with a nice hot pan, bit of butter, a knob of butter, about 30 to 40 grams of butter in there, which is about a good tablespoonful of butter. And then once it's melted, slice your scallops into thirds so that they're nice and thin, and literally pan fry them for 30 seconds each side. Not long at all. You don't want them to colour particularly, you just want them to cook through. They just change texture and a little bit of colour as well. They go a little bit less translucent.
What happens if you overcook them?
Nothing drastic. It's not going to hurt you, but they'll be a little bit rubbery.
Yeah, that's what you don't want.
You don't want. And you're going to pop these in the oven for 15 minutes at the end anyway. So, you just want to colour them a little bit, and the flavour will then go into the butter as well. So it's a good start to the dish. And then you're going to chop some spring onions, and you're only going to use the whites of the spring onions, which is unusual for me because I always say use the whole lot, don't waste anything. But we'll keep the green for later. And then just fry those for another 30 seconds. So you can see this is a fast recipe. Fry the scallops, take them out. Fry the spring onions, take them out. And then you're going to put about a tablespoon of plain flour into the butter. And this is where people get scared. This is basically making a bechamel sauce.
Yeah.
So you just put it in, and yes, it just forms one big lump of, it looks like Play-Doh, don't panic. Don't panic. So then you get your milk. Full fat milk is the best for flavour, and you're going to add it a drop at a time, maybe in 300 ml at a time, so sort of half a cup at a time, and you're going to stir it, and you'll just find, believe it or not, the butter and the flour with the milk will just form a nice thick sauce. If you find it goes a little bit lumpy, and it shouldn't do, use a silicone whisk just to whisk it through. And I say silicone because ideally you're going to make this in a non-stick pan and you don't want to scratch it.
Okay. I've got a silicone one, I'm okay.
You don't have to, but it just helps with making the sauce. And then once you've got a nice creamy sauce, you're just going to finalise the flavour with a little bit of a tablespoon of white wine, 2 tablespoons of cream to make
she's talking,
ultra delicious. And what makes it a Mornay sauce and not a bechamel sauce is we're going to add 25 to 30 grams of a nice strong cheese like Gruyere or Parmesan. Ooh. So it becomes a cheesy sauce.
Yes.
And then you're going to add your prawns into that. You can chop them if you like, or you can keep them whole. Put your scallops back in, and then you're going to put that back into your cleaned scallop shells, or some little ramekins. It's up to you. If you don't want to use the shells or you haven't got any, pop them in little ramekins and top them with some breadcrumbs and another little Parmesan, sort of scatching of Parmesan over the top, and pop them in the oven for 15 minutes. That is it. So these can be done in, I would say, 10 minutes on the hob, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in the oven.
That sounds healthy. It sounds delicious. It sounds divine. Would you serve it with anything? Because I think if I put that in front of my husband, he'll be like, I don't think that's going to fill me up. Bit of bread or something, I don't know.
Nice crusty bread and a salad, or even some steamed broccoli and potatoes if you want to, some nice and fresh
would work really well with potatoes, wouldn't it?
But it is, as I said, it isn't a bulky meal.
No.
It's a light meal. It's a lovely starter. Or you could of course make this as one single big dish for a sort of a dinner party if you wanted to, as a little pie. And the cheese sauce, don't forget, is perfect for macaroni cheese as well. So although we're making a lovely romantic dinner here, just for family, good family flavour, use the same cheese and add some cooked macaroni into it.
Oh, I do love a macaroni cheese, but that sounds divine. Thank you very much, Lisa Fearn. We've still got one more recipe to go, but if you'd like those recipes sent out to you, all you have to do is email me, behnaz@bbc.co.uk. That's behnaz@bbc.co.uk. More. You are with Behnaz Achgar, and I'm delighted to have Lisa Fearn in the studio with me, sharing some recipes for a nice romantic night in, because we've got a big night on Saturday night, haven't we? Are you going to be cooking this, Lisa, or have you got something else in mind?
I might well do, Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one. So time to hear what you've got for us next.
Well, a lot of people they love these, but they'll never try and make them because I think MasterChef has made it so impossible to get it right. It's the chocolate fondant.
We can do it. We've got
do it.
You're teaching people every week in your school. You can do it nicely here for us on BBC Radio Wales. How do we go about doing that?
Well, it's not difficult at all. And if you've made brownies, you've basically made a chocolate fondant because it's pretty much the same. So you get a saucepan and you melt 175 grams of butter and dark chocolate together. You don't need a bain-marie, you don't need a bowl over simmering water. Pop it in because the butter tends to melt first and then the chocolate melts into the butter so the chocolate doesn't burn. A lot of people are scared of cooking or melting chocolate in a pan. On its own, it might go wrong, but with butter, it's perfectly fine. So once that's melted, in another bowl, in a separate bowl, mix your caster sugar, 200 grams, with 4 eggs. So just whip it until it's all nice and light. They say until it gets to ribbon consistency.
By hand?
I do. So, yes, I would. I wouldn't bother getting a mixer involved. It's so easy and quick.
Okay.
So ribbon consistency so that when you lift the mixture up, you can write your initial in the top and it just stays there until it disappears. So once that's done, you just pour gently the chocolate and butter mixture into your egg and sugar mixture and keep whisking at the same time. You might want to have a little break in between so that the chocolate mixture isn't too hot, or at least to take it off the heat before it starts bubbling. You don't want it boiling because that might curdle the eggs. It's never happened to me, but people say, if you put a hot mixture into eggs, is it going to curdle? It's never happened, but
it's okay if it's warm.
Warm is fine.
Yeah.
Warm is fine.
Okay.
And then to finish that off, you add your self-raising flour, 85 grams, so it's quite not very much flour at all. And this is where you can flavour it slightly. You can either put a shot of coffee in there to make a coffee chocolate. You could add the zest of some orange. You could add some vanilla extract, or or any flavour you like, basically, as long as it's an intense flavour. You don't add too much volume. Almond, but use the essence rather than any. Don't put orange juice, for instance. No. It's going to be too runny.
Okay.
So that's your mixture done. Now the secret here is use some nice, I would say, newish ramekins, so that there's no scratches or anything on the sides. You don't want anything to prevent these from coming out. So in order to do that, use a pastry brush or your fingers and grease inside each tin, but with upward strokes, so that when they cook, the shape of the butter on the inside of the tin allows it to come out. Does that make any sense?
It does.
And then some cocoa powder inside that. Again, as a sort of almost an insurance policy that these are going to come out, okay? Mm-hmm. And you can do that twice if you want, to make a nice thick layer of cocoa and butter. Add your mixture, and there's enough there to make, I would say, 4 small ones, 6 small ones, or 4 larger ones.
Okay.
And then this is crucial. Preheat your oven, 180 degrees.
Can I ask you something about that?
Yeah.
How long does it take to get your oven up to 180? And I know all the ovens are different. How do you know that it's 180? I never know.
Well, in theory, you turn your dial to 180.
Yeah.
A red light comes on.
Yes.
That means it's heating.
Right.
That basically, think danger, your oven's not hot enough. When it goes off or goes to green, or a green light comes on instead of the red, a bit like this here. Yeah. If it's red, it's not ready. When it's green, then the oven should be to temperature.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we got it all heated
and I would
nicely.
say, it's not going to take, a lot of people put the ovens on
half an hour,
half an
40
hour
minutes,
before.
you don't need that.
No, 6 minutes.
Okay.
Obviously, if it's an older oven, maybe a bit longer. Or if your door seals are a little bit sort of not brand new, could take a bit longer.
Okay.
So pop them in. I would tend to pop them on a tray so they all go in together. Don't do them individually. They could spill. They could, sort of fall over in the oven, who knows, because you want them nice and level. So pop them on a tray, pop the tray in the oven, 12 minutes.
That's at all?
12 minutes, exactly. Don't look at them and think, 1 more minute, because they will come out and they'll be wobbly in the middle, and you'll think, these need an extra minute. I've done it so many times. But because the thing is, they've got heat in them. When they come out of the oven, that heat is still cooking the mixture. And basically what you've got here...
it continues to cook.
Yes, so it goes hard. And this is where I pity them on TV shows where they've made this to perfection. But of course, if they're not judged for the next 4 or 5 minutes, time has gone on and they've already gone hard in the middle.
Okay, but it wouldn't go hard in the middle if we do 12 minutes?
12 minutes, it should be fine. You take it out, it'll continue cooking a little, but only to firm it up to almost perfect.
Sounds lush.
And then you take them out and you serve them immediately with some nice, good quality vanilla ice cream and maybe a little chocolate-covered strawberry like you had earlier.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for bringing them in. It was lovely to see you, Lisa Fearn. Have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you.
And if you'd like those recipes sent out to you, all you have to do is email me, behnaz@bbc.co.uk. I will recap that for you later. Bye-bye.